I'm Eric Holtzclaw, the CEO of User Insight, and I'm talking about the death of demographics. So it's the 5 dirty little secrets about why people's marketing segmentation doesn't work anymore, especially in our connected world of many-to-many, where you don't have control over where the messages are, and you have to make sure that you understand that you're putting the right message at the right place at the right time. Well, the 5 dirty little secrets are when people come to us, they always bring us, oh, we want to build a product for males or females with a certain age and a certain income that live in a certain type of house. And what we find when we do research and talk to those end users is that has absolutely nothing to do with why they choose or buy products. So we know what the real true decisions are behind these buying behaviors. So it's just getting away from demographics. I mean, every time you sit in a room, especially as a developer or a product manager or marketing person, you start thinking about people in these kind of age segments. And it's very difficult to pretend to be a 35-year-old female who has a minivan and 2 kids, but it's easy to understand what are the drivers and motivations behind why that person makes a purchase within a context. We've uncovered what we call persona DNA, which basically if you're one persona within one context, you're probably the same in another. And to give a better example of that is if you're a spender, you're always a spender, no matter if you're trying to pretend to save money. So if you're using coupons or reward programs, it's actually just a special way of spending. If you're a saver, you would just save your money. So within every context, if you know that somebody's a spender or you know that they're a saver, you know how to kind of speak to their core. And we also are very lazy with words. So a couple of the examples I use are banking websites where the word convenience came up over and over again. And convenience means something different to everybody, but banks use that word in a way that's not actually appropriate. I have the coolest job on the face of the planet. So I talk to consumers all year round. We talk to somewhere between 3,000 to 4,000 consumers in one-on-one interviews. So we're basically doing an interview every 45 minutes. And we do these 1-hour sessions where we'll take them from a very broad topic of travel or whatever that is and then narrow them down to the specific context that we're thinking about. And what's nice about that is after we do the research, we can hand over to a customer 3 or 4 questions that allow them to get to who that person really is at their core. So that's how we do it. It's qualitative. 97% of what we do is one-on-ones. We very rarely do focus groups because focus groups don't work. You don't know actually who's in the room. Even though you have the same demographic, they all have different behaviors and motivations behind why they're doing what they're doing. Biggest surprise from demographics or segmentation, every study we do is that kind of surprise. Customers come to us with these crazy ideas that the reason that somebody's buying something is because they're a male or they're a female or they make a certain amount of money. And we go out and we don't try to disprove them. We actually take the segmentation or demographic they tell us and we go out and we start interviewing those people, and what we find out is it has absolutely nothing to do with that demographic or segmentation. So I would say I've rarely not been surprised. So when we're brought something, the assumptions are completely wrong. That's why products fail. People put out things that people can use, but they don't want. And there's a huge difference between being able to use something and wanting to use it. What's interesting is that people think the work that we do is hard. So they're like, oh my gosh, you talk to 3,000 or 4,000 consumers, you do one-on-one interviews, it's an hour. You really only need to talk to 12 to 18 people to start understanding what those patterns are. So if you're a web designer, you're building something, you need to go and talk to end users, not people, not beer budget. You can't do it with people inside your organization because they're too close. But go talk to people that would be the intended users, talk to about 12 to 18, and make sure you have a nice broad conversation. And you'll start to uncover patterns of what they say, and you can predict what the person's going to say next. So based on them saying this thing, they're probably going to say something else. And make sure you're not lazy with words. So if they're using a word that you think has a common definition to it, make them define that word for you because it may not be the same.